Do you like model trains? Do you like large model trains? Well, I've got them. Today we're looking at tank cars, oil tankers, of two different types, framed and frameless. These are models by Bachmann of their Spectrum range to run on 45mm track, gauge 1, representing 3-foot narrow gauge, which makes it 1 to 20.3 scale, F scale, which I think stands for flippin' awesome. Anyway, I got a few of these tankers, and I have one which I have not yet opened. I'm going to get these ones out of the way, and this is where I open a box for you so you can have all the fun and excitement of opening a new product without making the expense. I've made the expense, you just sit back and enjoy it. Whoop. Here we go. Spectrum, large scale model railroading product, all boxed up nicely. So, we've seen this type of box before. I think one end is actually open. Yes. That end is taped up, this one wasn't. As far as I know, this has not been opened before. There we are, empty box. Right, so a little envelope. We have, careful, it's taped up. Right. This is, as it says, 1 to 20.3 frameless tank car. And then we have warranty cards, which if you're in the US or Canada, US or Canada, you can fill those in, send them back, and you are covered under warranty. However, this doesn't include the UK, where I am. And there's an exploded diagram, so if you need any parts, you can get a hold of Bachmann, and hopefully they'll have the parts you need in stock. It's been a while since these were made, but it's good to know just in case. Right. So it is. I'll get a knife. Cut the tape. Some around the sides. Ooh. Slips off. There we go, so it's completely open at the front now. And there's plastic wrapping all around the back, which makes it, hopefully, easy to pull out. Or not. Okay. How do I do this before? Being a curved shape, it makes it quite difficult to catch. Damn it! Oh, God's sake. Oh. Oh, something's loose. What is that? It's out. A moment. Right. With any models of this scale, you have to be careful for loose parts because they're big. The details are often quite loose. So bumping around in the box, or just as you're pulling it out, it's quite possible that some little parts can come loose. Oh, what was that? I saw something. Okay, one of the covers for the wheel axle. Ah, there it is. There we go. It's just come loose. Just pop it straight back on, and there we go. Okay, nothing else. What else comes with the box? Right, let's get a bag of bits. Right, so we have got spare covers, like the one that fell off. And you got a few little spare bits and pieces, a chain, wheel brakes, brake shoes. Well, a few little bits and pieces anyway. And comes with replacement couplers. Now, previous videos have talked about the different height that the couplers come in, between Spectrum range, which is 1 to 20.3, the accurate range, and then the Bachmann big hauler stuff, which is more G scale, slightly compromised scale where the couplers are going to be a bit lower. So this enables you to couple the Spectrum range one to the slightly smaller big hauler, if you like. So that's them. And I'll put those away as well. Right, box out of the way. Here we are. So this one is Gramps. Who is Gramps? Well, back on the Rio Grande Railroad, there was the town of Chama, and about 13 miles north-ish of Chama, there was a whole bunch of land. There was a whole load of land owned by Lafayette Hughes, who was known as Gramps, and he was a granddad, so that makes sense. So in 1935, they discovered oil in his land and started extracting it, and it was run down a pipeline to Chama, where it was loaded onto tankers like this and taken up by rail up to Alamosa, where there was the Oriental Refinery. And that went on for many years. At its peak, they were taking a train every day of up to 11 cars. And that carried on up until 1964, where the refinery suffered a fire. And they considered it too expensive to repair the refinery, and so oil was no longer taken up that way. And that was a big blow for the railroad, because that was a lot of business for it. And 1964, over the winter, that was the first time the railroad was actually completely closed for a period of time. So that's quite sad. After 1964, all the oil from Gramps fields were taken to Farmington down in New Mexico by road, which is a shame because the railroad actually went that way as well. The Rio Grande used to deliver pipes all the way down to Farmington for their oil facilities down that way. So it's a shame they couldn't take the oil by train still, but that's what happened. So, Mr. Gramps, so the story goes, he leased a whole bunch of the tankers from UTLX, who owned the tankers, and had them branded with Gramps. And so they say, he did that so that his grandchildren could see the trains and know which ones were Grandad's tankers, which is kind of nice. So as we take a look around the model itself, it's pretty much all plastic. The wheel trucks, I think, are some kind of metal, but everything above there is plastic, I think. Yeah, so there's good details around. All the decals look really clear, which is great. And the walkway here looks like it's kind of weathered. So it's like you've got like a brand new tanker, but the wooden walkway, the running plate here, is it looks textured like it's been weathered. So these tankers, they generally looked really grimy when they were in use, which I'm sure I'll get into weathering at some point in the future. It'd be a shame to weather this too much because they do look really smart. But I've got a few tankers, so it could be good to keep a couple looking kind of clean and the rest looking a bit grimy and horrible. So we shall see. So, looking around though, let the Bachmann couplers work and other similar manufacturers. You've got this arm on the side which enables you to pull the pin and uncouple the knuckle coupling, just as they do in real life. And then everything else around the place, all details look really cool. Like this little ratchet here, even. All good stuff. These lids do actually open. I've not checked if they're watertight. Actually, I'm looking through, I can see daylight through the gaps in the frame, so they won't be. If for whatever reason you wanted to put liquid in them, you can't, unless you do something to them. One thing to notice is these models do come with this little thing around the coupler, holding it firm. So you want to make sure you take that out. Otherwise, when you take it out onto your railroad, if you go around some tight curves, it won't be able to move around to the side and maybe cause derailment, which you don't want that. So make sure you take those out. And then you're free for the knuckle to flip around from side to side as much as it wants. So as I said, I've got a few different types of tanker. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tankers. One could say I'm a tanker So, so I've got this one, and this one, and this one. All of the frameless Gramps. Then I've also got this one, which is framed. Put that one there. There we go. And also, I've got another framed one, which is unlettered and undecorated. So we'll look at these. The framed ones are similar. but they've just obviously got this big frame that the tank is sat onto, whereas this one, the frame is going to be within the tank. So apart from that, they look fairly similar. They do have different details around the side. These have got ladders around each side, and the cap on top is quite different as well. This one's just got a lift-off lid, and this one looks like it's got like screw-down clamps all around it, even though they don't actually work. But this lid opens out on a hinge, as opposed to this one with the lid fully popping off. So I bought two of those two, from Kramer in Las Vegas. As I've mentioned him before, I bought quite a few things from him. He had just the two numbers in stock, so these were the first two I bought. I bought them through eBay. I paid $94.50 each for these, and then $115 shipping for the two to come to the UK. So I would have had to pay import tax as well on top of that, which is, is an annoying amount of money as well. Man, the British tax board has made such a amount of money from me over the last few years. Anyway, so I bought those two from Al in Las Vegas. Then the other three I bought from the UK. These two I bought from the same place. Someone was selling them. I think I paid probably £110 for them, something like that. And similarly to this one might have been a bit less actually because it's an undecorated one, but yeah, call it 100 quid. They've all been not too far off at the same price coming from different places. Now, this one being unlettered and unpainted gives me a little bit of extra fun because I'm going to have to paint this one black. And I've already got the decals from San Juan Decals. There we are. So there we go, let's have a quick look. So yeah, San Juan Decals, they make very good quality decals for a whole range of mainly rear grand stuff, various scales as well, so if you do other scales, have a look. So I'll be able to letter that one up how I want. And there's Gramps. It won't be Gramps, because Gramps were only on frameless tankers, not the framed ones. Those there. And with San Juan Decals, they always come with a little information sheet as well, which just to help you do things correctly with your models. So it's got the diagrams for where to place them, and then a little bit of information about the dates and the particular years, because things were different through different years through the whole era of the rear grand. So it does say that frameless tankers were converted from standard gauge cars in the 1930s, originally numbered from 55,000 to 55,999 and 57400 to 59,999. And then in 1947 they were ranged between 88152 and 88168. So 88168 was the highest number. So if you look, this one, 88169, this one 88174, this one 88172. So according to this, they don't exist. And the information in here also says that between all the cars, the font and the lettering was slightly different. It did vary a bit. So as you can see between these two types, even though they're different types of tanker car, you can see the lettering style is a little bit different, so they do vary. if you'd like extra information about getting your models absolutely accurate, I recommend this book, which is Narrow Gauge Pictorial, Volume 4. I've got a few of these, and I have shown them before actually. But this one, Volume 4, does include tank cars. So you flick through and towards the end, there you go. Different versions of tankers, with them being used, different markings, different times, different places. So it's a good reference if you want to get accuracy. So there were other types of tanker car used on the rear Grandt. There was another type of framed tanker, which was actually more like a flatbed car with a tank put on top. Those were marked up as Conoco Oil Company, and were also marked up with Shell and Associated. I'm not an expert on those. I think Conoco were used up the rear Grand Southern line. You're more likely to see them up that way, but I'm not sure. I don't know. I've not actually researched any of those. So if you know, please tell me. I've just looked into Gramps, because Gramps is cool. And people seem to like it. Friends come over and they see Gramps and they go, "Oh, that's what I call my granddad." And I go, "Yeah, that's the idea. It was someone's granddad." Anyway, so those flat car style ones with the tank on top, AMS did make those, or have made them in the past, and also Bachmann did do a tanker in big hauler range, where it was actually, they did a framed tanker with Gramps on it. So, by my understanding, that was incorrect. So yeah, big hauler is generally a bit of a compromise. Whereas Spectrum is the properly accurate stuff. So there's your choice. Anyway, let's see these oil tankers rolling in my uninteresting garden. So, tankers, there you go. Just before we finish, have you subscribed? Please make sure you subscribed. It's really important, and every subscriber helps. And also, you get to see what there is to come, because as I keep saying, there is so much to come. There really is, loads. Also, not enough people are on my Instagram or Facebook group page. So please look up That Big Train Guy on Instagram and also Facebook. Links in the description as well. But you get extra content there, extra little pictures of things, of what I'm doing. There's some real train videos in there as well on Facebook, and some pictures as well, places I visit. Extra stuff. It's all good. So, yeah. Oil tankers. In the words of Terminator, oil will be back. Makes them sound Irish. Please be back as well. See you next time. Oil be back, to be sure.